In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in black and white emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we are coloring conversations on the canvas of America. Tonight's episode is Legacy in Motion. Our special guest tonight is Derrick J. Wilson. Derrick J. Wilson is a native of Houston, Texas, started his educational journey in Houston Independent School District, demonstrating his academic prowess. He graduated from Westbury High School. Furthering his education, Derrick pursued a degree in political science at Abilene Christian University, located in Abilene, Texas. Derrick has been happily married to Maria Wilson for over 15 years. The couple together are dedicated to raising their two children, instilling in them the values of hard work and integrity. In 2008, Derrick ventured into the janitorial industry. He has held several key positions showcasing his versatility and leadership skills. His roles have included franchise owner, branch manager, and director of business development. Additionally, he has served as the senior account manager at Guardian Facility Management. Derrick's entrepreneurial spirit didn't stop there. He became the owner of a U-Haul dealership, expanding his business portfolio. Furthermore, he took a significant step by becoming the majority owner of Guardian Financial Services Incorporated, a company specializing in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Derrick is a licensed insurance adjuster, highlighting his diverse skill set. His commitment to community service is evident through his roles as the former treasurer for the Gwinnett NAACP and as a former board member of the Gwinnett County Parks and Recreation Authority, where he represented District 3. Currently, Mr. Wilson is a proud partner of About Magazine's Gwinnett. He is also the owner of MD Communications, LLC, a digital marketing agency focused on innovative strategies in the digital space. Derrick's passion lies in aiding entrepreneurs and small businesses to reach their full potential. His extensive experience and dedication to business development make him a valuable asset to the entrepreneurial community. Derrick J. Wilson stands as a testament to hard work, versatility, and the spirit of entrepreneurship, continually striving to make a positive impact in both the business world and his community. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Derrick J. Wilson.
Ooh, that guy right there is special.
How you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I am just excellent. Thanks for being here, and we're very honored to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything that you'd like to add to your bio before we jump into the show?
I mean, well, you said so much. I do have the privilege to serving as the president of the Greater Eastside Chamber of Commerce. In that role, I get to serve the business community by providing access to information, elected officials, funding opportunities that help businesses not only grow, but thrive. And last, but definitely not least, along with my role with the chamber, I also serve as the business development manager for True North Restoration of Northwest Atlanta. In this position, I meet people, some at the toughest points of their lives when their homes or businesses has been damaged by water, fire, or smoke. And as you mentioned earlier, my background as a licensed insurance adjuster, I'm able to navigate them through the claims process, which sometimes can be overwhelming, and work with them to restore their home, their hope, and just get their lives back together.
Okay. So we're going to jump first into your entrepreneurial journey and vision. And so I just want to first start out, and I want to just tell you again that I want to welcome you to America in Black and White. And if you can tell us, how are you feeling ahead of tonight's conversation? How are you feeling?
Thanks you for that question. I'm actually feeling pretty well. Some days are better than others when it come down to dealing with work, chamber business, life in general. And so the day started off bumpy, but coming into this, I was able to relax, decompress, get my mind right, and so I'm definitely ready and prepared. See what you
Okay.
have for me.
Well, so we're going to start with your origin story, and that is, what sparked your entrepreneurial spirit?
Man, my origin started so I come from a large family. On my mom's side, my grandma had 11 kids.
Oh, wow.
On my dad's side, my grandma had 10 kids.
Oh, wow.
And so my grandma on my mom's side, she was an entrepreneur. She owned I guess they call it a juke joint back in the day. She owned the cleaners. And then my aunts and uncles on my dad's side, majority of them are entrepreneurs. My dad included. My dad, for the past 30 some odd years, has owned a tent shop, one of the most popular, famous tent shops in the city of Houston. Everybody heard of Wilson Glass Tent. And so I've just been around entrepreneurs basically all my life. Now, most of the people on my mom's side, as far as my mom and her siblings, they went into corporate America, got good paying government jobs, what have you. But like I say, on my dad's side, it's full of entrepreneurs. You got truck drivers, you got people with contracts with the railroad, hotels. And so I've always seen entrepreneurship. And then back to my grandma, right before she passed, I remember my grandma used to clean office buildings, and that was her business. And so I've always been around entrepreneurship, and to me, it's no surprise that I'm doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And if we want to trace it back, my great grandparents were sharecroppers, which, as we know, that's a form of entrepreneurship in itself.
Exactly. So what was your first business venture, and what did it teach you?
My first business venture was a janitorial franchise. And I was roughly 21, 22 years old when I got into that business. It taught me a couple of things. I'm not here to bash franchises, but it taught me that I'm not a fan of franchises. And particularly as I'm paying you to do what I could do myself, which ultimately led to my second business, which was a janitorial company outside of the franchise. Mm-hmm. But it did teach me how to, that was my first business venture. So it taught me how to negotiate a contract. It taught me how to set up bank accounts, a business bank account, learning that I need a separate account for my personal and my business, not to, commingle funds. And it introduced me into payroll and the payroll taxes. And are we doing 1099s? Are we doing W-2? It taught me all of that in that short period of time that I was with that franchise.
Oh, wow. So how do you define success as an entrepreneur today?
Man, that's a real good question. Outside looking in, the world defines success based on, how much money it looked like you have on social media and how it looks like. For me, success is being able to provide, first and foremost, provide for your family, for yourself and your family, and being able to provide for others. As I said, I had employees, I've hired people, and I'm responsible for their families as well. To me, that's success, and to be able to go relax on a beach, take a trip when you want to, versus having to trying to you know schedule it, save up for 2 years just to go on a trip. I don't think my grandma traveled too much. Well, I don't even think she ever been in an airplane. But if she couldn't drive, she didn't go. And most of the time, she was driving back and forth between family. My family originally from Louisiana, so she drove back and forth from Texas to Louisiana. But I don't think that generation vacationed much because of not being able to afford it. So for me, my success is seeing my kids graduate. My son graduated high school. Seeing my daughter thriving in school. My wife and I are both happy with thriving careers and businesses and able to enjoy life. We're not the richest, but emotionally and spiritually, I think we're billionaires, if not trillionaires.
So let me I have a follow-up question for you on that, and that is, with today people measuring success via dollars and cents, do you think as an entrepreneur that really sets the tone for you being successful or not?
Yes and no. I mean, um, it's safe to say that people go into business with hopes and dreams of making some money.
Right.
So that is an indication. But sometimes your bank account don't reflect your success.
Hmm.
uh, because and then obviously there could be some reasons why that need to be tweaked. But there, I mean, your influence, is your brand recognition there? I mean, there are some key indication of success. But I guess in business, the end of the day, your goal is to make money. And if your dollars and cents is not adding up to black, as in black or red,
Hmm.
then yeah, you're not doing so well. You might need to look into why you're red, why you're more red than black. Um, but I think that's just only in the grand scheme of life, that's just a minute point to point out as far as success.
Well, because like I'm gonna tell you, I think I can understand that part because you're absolutely right. When you get into business, you get into business to make money. But I think if you're going to measure that success based on the dollars and cents, then is that qualitative or is that quantitative? Because I think when you look at business in general, especially when you want people to get your product, to know your brand, to know what you are about. Now, if you're just measuring that on the money part, now this is me. Now this is the devil's advocate part.
Okay.
Now, if you just want people to know based on that money that you earn, and if you're not earning a lot of money, then that means you are a failure. Now, if you are one of those quality places that you get people to come into your store, but they're not like flooding the market where your store is just totally packed, and you're not you all your shelves are just not totally empty or whatever have you, then I would think that that makes you successful because that means that there's some quality to what you're doing. What are your thoughts on that?
I would agree. And also, people don't realize that just like life, business is the same way when it comes down to everything is seasons, stages. Um, I'm very spiritual, and sometimes I mean, it may have been the job or the season or the plan for you to plant the seed, start the
Right.
business,
Right.
and get it to wherever point that you were able to get it to, and then pass it on to the next generation. I mean,
Hmm.
if we look at some of these historical businesses that's been around, a lot of times they didn't even become ultimately successful as in the dollar range until the second or third generation of ownership.
Exactly.
Grandpa started it, uh, did as best he could, and he was happy with it. Then the son came around and took it to the next level and made it to where he's happy. And then, so I think ultimately it's baked down to where you're happy at. I know people, and I've had these conversations where it's like it seems like all we're focusing is on the dollar, about the bottom line, the dollar, and it's like, I get it. We have bills. Bills need to be paid.
Right.
But I remember again going back to spiritual, and to this day, I try to operate the same way. I don't worry about my bills. I don't worry about how I'm going to pay it, whatever. The Lord's work in mysterious ways. I've been unemployed. I've been down in the slumps where business just wasn't doing as well as one would expect it. And I kept operating and kept moving in the same way that as if everything was fine. Obviously, you didn't go out to eat as much, but you still operating. You still, I'm still waking up in the morning. I'm still have my, and maybe subconsciously I had some worries, but I'm still doing what I'm doing. As a good friend used to tell me when we're talking about the chamber, just keep chambering. And so I kept chambering. I kept businessing. I kept looking for jobs. I kept living. I kept fathering. Kept husband. And so, and my bills got paid. Yes, I got some pink notices, but they got paid. My wife can tell you, we was at points where we was trying to, she was trying to figure out how we're gonna do it. I'm like, look, babe, it's gonna come through. It's gonna happen. And at the last minute, bing, oh, okay, look, I just got a payment. Let me go take care of that right quick. And she was like, what? Yeah. And you have, if you believe in a higher power, you have to believe in it full, as a good friend of mine say, 10 toes down.
Yes, sir.
And so, and you can't be fickle in business. You can't be when it's all good, you all happy, and then the moment you drop a little bit, you trying to find a bridge to jump off of. You can't you can't be that, because there's going to be some great highs and some tough lows. You have to be able to balance that. So no, you're not a failure if you're dollar, but you have to be able to know when to pivot, when to is it time to sell? Do you sell? Do you keep it? You have to know what's right for you and what's your purpose in life.
Well, you see, also, I know with you being a business savvy man, because apparently, you didn't just maneuver into the industries that you got into and build business, just by chance, because apparently there had to be something that you had that was a tool that was strategizing, that would actually create and put you in those spots to keep you moving. And which, of course, with you leading the chamber. So my thing is, when you have those businesses that may face those difficult decisions, face some difficulties and not knowing how to go forward, how do you take your expertise to help them to understand how to continue?
Well, man, you coming with some great questions. I tried to break it down, or try to understand their situation without them providing, going into all their business directly. But we had a business. It was a restaurant that was struggling, and couldn't get butts in the seats, and people to come through the doors. And so we came in, me and the team, we sat down, we discussed some marketing plans, provided some access to some funding, provide some services at low cost or zero. And I'm a hustler. People may not, I know that has a bad connotation, but Steve Jobs was a hustler.
Yes.
So that's like, hustler is not a bad thing. Hustler means someone that's going out there and get it, because failure is not an option. Have a lot of things. I'm a man, I'm a Black man, I have a kid. Well, at that time I had a kid. I have 2 kids now. I'm married. I have a mortgage now. I mean, I'm taking care of my wife, my kids, and my mom. So it's like, failure is not an option. And so when you don't have that safety net to lean back on, you have to find ways to be successful. And so that's why I tell them, like, look, I've been in your shoes. I've been there, done that. I've got the eviction notice. I've almost had a foreclosure notice, so like I've been there. And, you just have to keep doing, obviously you don't keep doing the same thing, because they say you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. What they say about you, but keep waking up in the morning and keep going, going out there. So for that restaurant, I say, well, look, have you tried, have you checked your prices? Have you made sure your prices are competitive? Have you checked the quantity of the food? I know food costs went up. So are there ways that you can make cuts? How's your marketing doing? Do you have someone that's out there that's marketing, trying to get people there? Are you on social media? If you're a restaurant and you're not on TikTok or Instagram, you're missing out on a lot. I know people who don't even Google anymore. My cousins and I, and people will say younger generation. I turned 40 in a month. My cousin, who was older than me, it was a group of us. We went to New Orleans. Every place we visit to eat was a spot that she found on TikTok.
Wow.
And I think, she's at least almost 10 years older than me. Every spot. There's another person that I know. She's like almost, she's 58. Every spot that she talks about is, I saw this on TikTok. I saw this on TikTok. So if you're a restaurant and you are not on social media, on Instagram or TikTok, you're missing out on a lot. And so just things of that nature, trying to bridge the gap between boomers and whatever comes after us, millennials, I guess X's, Z's. So just trying to be that gap and provide them with my knowledge of being a hustler, because you got to get it. I believe in guerrilla marketing, going out there, go door to door. You have to be a little bit more careful now, because some places you got to go get those permits and license, but get out there. If failure is not an option, if you don't have that safety net where you can say, well, you know what, this didn't work, I tried. No, if you put all your all in there, get out there and get your hands dirty. It's not going to be pretty, but it can happen. Success can happen.
Now, I know all businesses go through some things, but this question, I want you to answer this to help some of the Black entrepreneurs that may be on that struggling side, that may be missing a few things. Can you tell them what's the biggest risk you've taken in business, and how did it shape you?
The biggest risks I took, like you say, business is a risk. I invested an extremely large amount of money into a business, a print business, if we to be honest, a print business that in a digital age that, some might say, well, why'd you do that? Well, one, I learned that my risk tolerance is very high. I learned that. But also I learned that, sometimes when you go against the grain, all the time, well, I can say all the time, sometimes when you go against the grain, the reward, can be beneficial. It was a struggle. It was, like I said, I almost got a couple of those foreclosure letters when, because all the money was going, trying to get this business off the ground, paying people, paying consultants, trying to make this a successful business. And all the writing was on the wall was like, Derrick, you just need to walk away. But my perseverance, tenacity, it showed me how much how low I'm willing to get in order to make a business thrive and successful. And so had to pivot, change the name a couple of times, and had to, under new management a couple of times. I tell people, I say it's like a club. I said, man, that building been about 5 clubs under new management and a Jimbo that own all of them, you know. But you know, you have to be able to pivot. And so I tell people, as far as risk wise, find your tolerance level. Everybody tolerance level is not the same. It's like playing in the stock market. You know, if you know that if you put all this $10,000 into this investment and that's your life savings, and if it tanks, you know, you're looking for a bridge, but don't do that. You know, I didn't know that I was willing to go that far, but I was in a pivot in my life. You know, after having businesses and running businesses and being part of the chamber, I left a corporate job to get back into the entrepreneur realm. You know, ironically, I took the corporate job just so I can buy a house. You know, tried to get a job 1099 as an entrepreneur, and that was, I mean, not a job, a house, and it was challenging. You know, that's something that probably on another episode, but talking about trying to buy a house as an entrepreneur where you don't have that corporate W-2, that corporate check stub. I mean, I actually made more money as an independent 1099 and got 2 days before closing, and they talking about they couldn't verify my income. I go get a corporate job with a W-2. I'm pre-approved with an offer letter. We closed on the house within 6 months, making less money on paper. So
now, can I ask you a question now? See, that this is a whole nother show, what you just mentioned, but just when you think about that, did you think that you were being at that point that they had put like this little bulletin in front of you that, you know, red line, red line, red line, no qualification, to all of a sudden when you go to actually doing this W-2 job, worker, we can accept that. So they didn't want to do the verifications of you being an independent contractor vice you being an employee.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like part of it was, you know, if we being honest, I definitely felt like it was racial. This black dude making way too much money. I mean, but legit, it was legit. I'm talking about I was working for one of the largest insurance companies in the country. I mean, I'm emailing you from my contract job. I'm emailing you from there. They're saying, you see my signature. My check stubs was different, you know, where it was coming from, but it had to go get employed to make less money. And was like I say, we were pre-approved with my offer letter, and we was closing on the house within 6 months of me getting this W-2 job, making less money. And like, that's the part that blew my mind, making less money. You know, as a young kid growing up in I guess the hood, you know, home ownership was like the American dream. I would love to be a homeowner. As I seen my aunts and my parents as they got older, and how chest pumped up when they, you know, we bought us a house. I wanted that, and I always thought it was money. You know, then I like found out, oh, okay, it's credit. I got my credit together, but then it's always not credit. It's credit and money. Okay, well, I got both now. Let's make it happen. I mean, I'm talking about I was flexing. I was feeling myself. I got both. Let's make it happen.
Right.
2 days before closing, we got pre-approved. We had conditions. The conditions was take this class. We took the class 3 days before closing. Oh, man, we just weren't able to verify income. You couldn't verify income 45 days ago? Like, come on now, let's like, and that was the explanation. And believe me, you know, when they give you a denial, they say whatever. I made sure you put on this denial, unable to verify income. Because at first they would say unable to, like, you know, like I didn't have enough money. No, we're not doing that. No, put what you told me on the phone. You told me you couldn't verify my income, but I'm giving you check stubs every week because I was getting paid every week. And anybody that know our industry as a licensed independent insurance adjuster, I was easily making $3-4 grand a week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And and I'm sending this to you every week. How you can't verify the income? And so I learned real right then, like, okay. And I was mad because the interest rate was so much lower then versus when I ended up buying. It went from 3 to 6 by the time I was like,
oh wow.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's part of the entrepreneur journey. I hear people, oh, you should have worked with this lender. Look, man, when you don't know, you don't know. I didn't know that was a special lender that I should have been using that specialized. Like, shouldn't have to do all that.
No, you should not, because that sounds like there was some soft violations of the Fair Housing Act, is what that sounds like.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, these folk need to be aware, because, I know that was a crazy time, but, that's one of those things that if people actually read that part of the law, because that actually affects a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. And then ironically, right after that happened, I started, how this, this Google and Facebook work. Me and you talking about pizza, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing all these pizza articles. I literally saw an article like a month later, and I forwarded to my wife, like, this is us. It was a contractor, 1099 contractor in construction that had all the check boxes, credit check, income, everything, and still could not buy a house.
Wow.
Like I said, this is wild. Making over 100-some thousand a year and still could not get a lender because of the 1099. I'm like, that is crazy. It shouldn't be this hard, because our counterparts that sound to be a little bit brighter than us don't have those problems.
Ooh. That's definitely something else I think we're gonna have to actually, that's something we're gonna have to cover, because that in itself is nonsensical, and that does not work in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
How do you stay grounded while building multiple ventures?
Man, I come home and look at my kids, my mom. Well, parents will keep you grounded. And my aunts, like I say, my grandma had 11 kids, so I have a lot of aunts and uncles. And then on my dad's side, my grandma had 10 kids, so I have a lot of aunts and uncles. And I remember growing up, it's funny because close friends and family of mine, they know this story, but I'm kind of feeling some type of way when it come down to Obama, because my goal was always to be the first Black president. And so I remember growing up, and I used to, mess with my aunts and family, like, yeah, one day I'm gonna be president, and you can't call me that in the White House. And they'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna call you by your nickname, and all. I'm like, so it's things like that keeps me grounded, because they will pop up, and I will not be saying my nickname, but they will be, my childhood nickname. They will pop up every now and then and be somewhere in public, and I'll be like, okay, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So, it definitely brings you back down. You just got off the stage, then gave a speech, then did rah, rah, rah. And then they're like, oh, you did a great job. No, stop. No. Don't say that. Somebody might pick that up. No.
Oh, Lord. This is his nickname.
Yeah. So family definitely keep me grounded. I don't care, how quote unquote big, popular, whatever the word is I get. My family would definitely bring me back down to size. I'm my mama's baby. My grandma had 20 some odd grandchildren. I'm closer to the 20. So, so I think it's maybe 3 or 4 that's below me. So, my family definitely we keep us each other grounded. They let me know, Derrick, you just Derrick. don't come here with all that. Go sit down somewhere. So.
So what role does faith or personal philosophy play in your business decisions?
Man, faith definitely plays a role in my business decision. Like I say, I don't worry about finances. Like Man, I used to I used to wake up every morning and look at my bank account. You know, part of me was, hoping and praying that whatever was there last night when I went to bed is still there, or I'm hoping that a payment will come through. I stopped doing that. I started living on faith principles. Worry about, what to say, pray about everything, worry about nothing. I try to live that principle. As far as you said, values. This may sound corny and cheesy, but I walk in integrity. I try to walk in integrity because no one's perfect. Have I lied before? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. Have I done something that some may find unscrupulous? I'm pretty sure I have. But I try my best to walk in integrity. And I hold the people that I associate with and I do business with, that I chamber with, I hold them to that same standard. Because I can't do business with you if I can't trust you. And so we don't have to be friends. We don't have to be buddies. We don't have to, but I have to be able to trust you. I have to be able to know that if we're doing this business venture together and I catch on fire, you gonna pour some water on me. You're not gonna just
Okay.
Kick me down and then take my money and run off. Oh man, too bad for you. No, I can't go. I've never been into the military, but I do have family that has, and just listen to them talking and just stories. I can't go to war not being able to trust my battle buddy.
Right.
And so I'm big on that. It has caused clashes. I'm in a point in life where if if we're not aligning, if you don't if your values and my values are not aligned, I think we're gonna start going our separate ways. And back to your success question, I think that's when you can start managing or counting your success. In my 20s, I did what I had to do because I felt like I had to do it. I got a wife and kids, I have to do this. I'm in a point in my life now that I don't have to do anything. I'm walking in purpose. I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose, helping others, helping businesses. And so, yeah, that's a level of success because I can comfortably say, yeah, I don't have to do this if I don't want to. And so yeah, that goes back to the values. We have to be aligned. You have to have some form of faith. You have to be trustworthy, and you can't the love of money is the root of all evil. Like my aunt, good old Aunt Shirley, she used to always stress that money is not evil. The love of money is. When you up here throwing away your soul and giving up your firstborn for the mighty dollar, I mean, you're a little older than me. I think it was the OJs for the love of money.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I don't love money. I love what I can do with money, but I don't love money. It's like the love of money is the root to all evil, and I walk in that, and I struggle with that when it comes down to business sometimes because I know when working with business owners and the money is their goal, one of their main goals, and I try to have that, not try to change a person, not like in a relationship trying to change a person, but I do try to throw nuggets out there and be like, how about that, like, I get it, yeah, well, yeah, you could have had this, but aren't you grateful for this? Like you can't focus on the dollar all the time. Sometimes there's a people element. Well, there's always a people element in what we do. There's, you got to have some empathy. You have to be able to have other things going for you than just the dollar, because if the stock market crash today, what's going to happen?
Right.
like with Bernie Madoff, and I don't know if you remember that story when how Bernie Madoff, it was a guy that was worth $20 billion and lost over $1 billion in the Bernie Madoff scandal
Yep.
and killed himself.
Yes.
$20 billion.
Yep.
Lost $1 billion.
Yes.
And killed himself. Yes. I think I would have been happy with 19 billion. Mad, but I definitely would be killing myself.
When they deal with that kind of stuff, which is why that one particular accounting firm that had been around for like Arthur Anderson, I think is what the name of that accounting firm that helped and participated in that scandal, was just as horrible. But again, it gets to that part to where when we saw how that happened and how that was handled by the government, and when we think of like business today, what's the one lesson you wish most Black entrepreneurs learned early on?
Well, one thing that we learned during COVID is the importance of a relationship with a bank. I wish we've learned that sooner, because I didn't realize that until COVID, when people was getting all these, or was trying to get these PPP loans and what have you, that a lot of people did not have relationships with banks. Like, where are you keeping your money? And I get it, historically, the trust, but there are some Black banks out there. I think we need to do a better job supporting those Black banks, but there are Black banks out there. And I think I wish we would have learned the importance of having a bank and banker relationship a lot sooner than when we in COVID, and now you qualify for the funds, but you don't have a bank account. And so now you're going to Bank of America or whatever bank that you have no relationship and asking them for this money. Whereas, the people who had these relationships already, I've been with a banker since 2009, and I can always pick up the phone call and say, hey, can I get this? Or what's the procedure of doing X, Y, Z? And so, but people don't value that. Now we got the Cash Apps and the PayPals and that can hold your money. People still are missing out on that relationship with a bank. I think that's one of the, from a business standpoint, that's one of, lines of credit, because that's based on your credit too, but lines of credit. But even if your credit is not all that great, that relationship can kind of balance it out, because if we, again, going to war, if we're going to war and you're not even in the room, but that Charles is in the room and Charles is going to be advocating on my behalf, that's a whole lot better than going into a room with John, who don't even know who you are, and everything is black and white, like the show say, everything gonna be black and white. This is his number, this is his credit. Yeah, we can't approve that.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something, because what you say, there's a lot of truth to that to some extent, because there are a lot of banks that, despite how things were, especially in that situation, where there were people that had valid bank accounts and qualified for those loans, and there were a lot of banks. I'm not gonna call out no names, okay? Because that was a blog post. But there were a lot of banks that refused to give people those loans.
Wow.
And there were an enormous amount of banks, and I hope that some of them folk are listening, that were part of that scam that took place, where they was giving out all those fraudulent loans.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so those people that thought they got away with those loans, now the government is coming back to collect on those loans, except for those people that have a lighter hue than you and I.
Well,
And so That's a
You know,
bad
we get a
example to be
struggle
a
for
part
trying to get
of.
2,500. I know a company where this guy went to jail for fraud and 25 million. I'm like, how he get 25 million and we can't even get 2,500,
But see,
250.
as you said about that banking relationship. See, they got that kind of scam going on.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. There's a movie, I can't remember where, I think it's on Amazon, called Bankers, with Samuel L. Jackson and
yes. I
yeah,
saw.
yeah. I think it's Don Cheadle. Is it Don Cheadle?
I don't think it was Don Cheadle, but it was Samuel L. Jackson. I can't
Yeah.
remember who the co-star was.
But man, that movie
It was
was
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. Yes, that movie was amazing, and it's based off a true story.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it is a true story. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I love that. I love that. I wish we knew more about that. You know, then.
So let's transition over to your work in business development and strategy.
Okay.
You've built a reputation for strategic growth. What's your approach to business development?
I approach business development the way I approach life. I'm very personable. I'm relatable. I'm down to earth. I show up to people. Hey, how you doing? Um, I I approach it intentionally. I guess as me. I walk into the room and I'm Derrick J. Wilson. Hey, how you doing? I'm Derrick J. Wilson, representing whoever I'm representing. I'm, True North Restoration, or Great East Side Chamber of Commerce. I am who I am, and sometimes my paths cross. I'm the president, but I got a True North shirt on. So I got a president badge with a True North shirt on, and so I announce who I am. Thank you, but I'm also at work. So and and I say work. I mean, it's work. At the end of the day, it is work. It's a job, but the autonomy that I'm graced with was one of the reasons why I accepted the job, because it's hard being a entrepreneur and then going back in corporate. So I needed to have that, still have that flexibility to be able, but that works. When I say that business has grown tremendously with my addition, not trying to toot my own horn, but business has grown tremendously. Our relationships are growing. My relationships are growing. I mean, I'm meeting more and more people. I like to network, and so networking and I mean that's part of our strategy. Networking, whom we're networking with. I'm learning that more and more because as a chamber we network with everybody, because everybody come to our meetings, and I'm trying to expand my network outside of my network, if that makes sense, because I have this network. You're Derrick from the chamber, and so I'm trying to expand outside of that, but then also bring it back into, because I'm learning, like, if I meet you over here in Marietta and we're talking and I'm talking about True North, but then during the conversation you mentioned something that I know a member of my chamber can provide you, I didn't just bridge that gap. Mm-hmm. Which also brought back to, now I done brought quality to our relationship, and then now you're calling me about True North. Like, it's crazy how everything is working together. So I mean, I just be me. I tell people, do what works for you. I mean, I have a good friend of mine who's a marketer as well, and she walks. I mean, she have her heels on, stilettos, and I mean, she's strutting. She bad. Mm-hmm. Well, most marketers wear uniforms. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, but she's doing her. It's like when she come through the door, you be like, oh, okay.
Okay, she got presence.
Right. And so, I mean, I chose to wear the uniform, well, I asked for, because, polo shirts and t-shirts, I said, I need a button down. Give me some button downs. I take my shirts every week to the cleaners. Give me some button downs. Let me come in starch. Now I am a little disappointed about Georgia starch. From Texas, we had the Stay Flow where the crease was so crisp that it cut you.
Ooh.
They got to peel it apart. I done told this man heavy starch, man. I said you can't get no heavier than this. But I like that. I like that presence. I come in, with my uniform on, just as fly as my counterpart, the young lady. But when I tell you, every now and then you might catch her with a uniform shirt. But I promise you, she got the stilettos and the skirt and whatever. And so, but she's doing it her way. And I think that's the best way. Yes, have some guidelines and some, but do it. Marketing is, and especially it goes back to my book, learning how to market in the digital world with a human touch. You have to bring some personality to it, or you're not going to be successful as a marketer or as a business developer. You're not going to be successful if you're just doing it by a script. You have to be able to bring some personality to it. And sometimes and then again, back to alignment. Everybody and everything is not for you.
Right.
You have to know when to walk away. All clients are not good clients. All money is not good money. All relationships are not good relationships. How many times you gonna let that dude hit you upside your head before you walk away? So, same thing in business.
Right.
How many times you gonna let them make you feel some type of way before you realize, you know what? I don't think this is a beneficial relationship. Maybe we should move around business wise.
Yeah, and so just speaking of your last two events, your networking events, as a matter of fact, I wound up missing them, especially the ribbon cutting.
Oh yeah,
I missed those because of situations that popped up, and another one was because conflictory of time here for doing the show.
yeah,
But I'm definitely trying to make those because I've actually noticed because I follow you, when you do your events and so forth, and it's like there's always apparently, and maybe it's just me looking at maybe the wrong thing, I don't know, but I see what looks like a different flair in each of those that you do.
yeah.
And so I think that is a wonderful thing, because when it's talking about networking and bringing people together, there has got to be something that's going to bring those folk there.
Absolutely.
And so I'm seeing that, and I got to give you some kudos on that, because I think that is totally excellent. And
Well,
so
thank you. I can't take credit for all that. I do have a team. We have board members. We got director of membership that's over a ribbon cuttings. I can't take credit, but I will let them know.
Yeah,
we are looking good in these streets.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, look, they doing the thing, so let me go up there. But so for where I am and where that is, that's a great distance, which is why timing always plays a part.
I understand.
Because I have to get all the way back over here to the western part of the perimeter, coming towards Alabama.
Yeah,
Douglasville. So that's a haul for me.
Well, that's all right, because again, if you ever have need any services, we'll come right on over there to Douglasville and service you. We cover the west side too, the west side, the south side, the east side, and the north.
I hear you.
We there.
So how do you identify opportunities in underserved markets?
How do I observe opportunities in underserved markets? Are we talking about in my line of work or just in general?
This is in your business development and strategy.
Okay. Well, one, building the relationships that we're building or that we have, and then from experience, I used to be, I'm still licensed, but I used to work at one of the big insurance companies, and when I had my territory, I noticed that there was a underserved when it came down to the contractors, the vendors that was available. And unfortunately, it was the south side of, I guess, of the metro. When you think of I-20 South, that then I guess 85 East, which is mostly low income and black neighborhoods. For some odd reason, every contractor wants to work in the perimeter and Dunwoody and Marietta and Cobb, but no one is down there serving these people. And so that was one of my, I ain't gonna say pitches, but when I met with the owner of True North, I told him, look, this is an opportunity for us because this is a underserved area. And since I've been on board, he put trust in me, and I say probably about 85% of our business has been in that underserved area. I mean, and I'm continuing to target that area, and I'm continuing because they deserve good quality service as well as anyone else. And I get upset when if we're partnering with someone or if I feel like we're treating them any different than what we would do if this was a Buckhead client.
I got you.
So just building relationships, researching, looking at the data. But a lot of times is based on that relationship and knowing the situation. Like I say, working for the insurance company, I knew what area going in. When I left the insurance company and decided to work with a restoration company, I knew exactly what area that I wanted to target because I'm just tired of pulling up to houses with people that look like me in there and not being able to provide them with a quality resource. Now I can do that.
So what's your process for building partnerships that last?
Well, one, it has to be mutual beneficial. I use an analogy with a good friend of mine, like dating. As a man, I'm not going to keep on taking you out on dates. If it's not, well, I'm getting that. So, at some point, we gotta see where we're going with these dates. And so it has to be beneficially mutual for both of us, mutual beneficial. Right. And then too, people make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. We have to be able to learn from them and grow from them. But, the mistakes can't be rooted in untrustworthiness or lying or deceit. The mistakes just have to be simple as that, mistakes, clerical errors, miscommunication, or what have you. And we can grow from that. I build long-term relationships by, talking to people about their family, talking about my family. Like I said, my son just recently graduated high school. I invited industry friends to come celebrate my son's graduation. That's how you build relationships. We go to games, we go out, I mean, I don't drink as much, but we do go for drinks. And so, again, you have to be able to bring your personality and be a people's person. People invite me to things, I show up. It's something, if there's a death in the family, I'm sending a gift card. I'm sending flowers. If there's a birthday in the family, I'm telling you congratulations, sending gift cards, sending flowers, so I'm building that relationship. I'm treating people the way I would like to be treated, basically. If I'm coating you, like the country folks say, if I'm coating you, I want you to coat me too.
Look, that's the way it go. Hey, look, coating don't just go one way.
Yeah, no. Because at some point, I'm gonna realize I must be a sucker. I guess now that they call it a simp, like what are we doing here? So no, it has to be mutually beneficial. It can't be one-sided. And I'm serious about that. If we're building business and we're building a relationship, and if I can do for you, and technically your business can also do for me, but if I'm doing all the doing, we're gonna have to come back and figure out this relationship. And if you're not willing to acknowledge, like, hey, I done, over the course of our knowing each other, working together for the past 6 months to a year, I done sent you, 25 jobs. You sent me nothing. Like, how do we bridge this, gap here. And if you're not willing to acknowledge that and accept that and provide some tangible, I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm just gonna stop fooling with you, but it's like, I'm gonna have to start looking for partnerships where it's mutual beneficial for both of us. It can't be a one-way street. It's just not gonna work. It's not sustainable that way.
No. How do you navigate challenges like funding gaps or systemic barriers?
Man, that is a struggle when it comes down to organizations or business, because I personally have always put up my personal money, and I love the team that we have at the chamber, uh, who is not allowing that. So we're putting, we have strategies, and we sit down and plan how to get those funding gaps. We do membership drives, we do events, we do networking events, we invite speakers to come in. Like we're having a speaker, the former Rockdale County CEO is doing the event with us. We have state representatives that's hosting meetings with the community. Like we're doing, we're thinking outside of the box, but also doing traditional chamber related things that can help drive revenue, drive value, that ultimately drive memberships. We creating partnerships with organizations. We offer, we partner with an organization where we offer discounts to some of these major brands, Hertz Reynolds, 1-800-Flowers, Staples, Office Depots, Verizon, things that can help bring value, which ultimately these partnerships with these are sitting down and using strategy to looking at how to bring value will ultimately bring in those funds. And then dealing with systemic barriers, I'm still trying to process that. Historically, our chamber was a majority white chamber, and then I'm not the first African American president. I'm the second, but the great escape, I guess, as they call it, started under the first African American president, who so happened to become president in 2019. Well, we know what happened the next year, COVID, and so that was the reasoning behind the great escape by everyone, the great flight. And then I became president in 21 and tried to, revive the chamber. And doing that revitalization, the membership, it has become majority, reflective of the leadership, majority African American. Mm-hmm. But, the former members that doesn't reflect the current membership, they get online and make comments. Oh, how they get them memories on Facebook. Oh, this is when it was like a family. What makes us less like a family now than we were?
Don't look like them.
That part, I guess, in their eyes, we don't take over the big house, huh? So, still dealing with that, just. It's so many, I've had people make public comments about me at City Hall meetings. Now they got my number. They have my personal contact. They could have reached out to me, and especially in this arena, we're dealing with the chamber and politics. I mean, I'm very reasonable. You can reach out to me, tell me the context of your disagreement, and hopefully we can get off the phone with some type of solution. There was no need for you to go have a public comment about I'm on vacation. I was in St. Louis and I got a phone call like, yo, what you do? I didn't even know I did anything. And so, and continue to have to deal with that. They smile in your face while all in the background trying to take your place. So, we supposed to be partnership and, supposed to be, and they are continually trying to make sure that we're not successful. But the team that we have at the chamber, all of us are determined. We have, tenacity, grit, that we go out there and we get the job done. And our membership is continually growing. And, authenticity shows, by the way, I got a speech impediment, so I may
Oh, you're fine. What's one business development strategy that's consistently worked for you?
Being able to be personable with people, walk into a room and being able to talk to people, relate, understand, talk about, listen, being a good listener. I've been able to do that, and it has drove our business, and our membership is growing. It's driven all of that just by being who I am. Now, there's also a catch-22 to that. You follow me, so I had a post that say, "Look, Derrick J. Wilson is not for everybody." But I'm learning that as I continue to walk in my purpose and to be who I am, that there are more people that actually enjoy my company than there are that don't. And
exactly.
And by knowing that and have the confidence in knowing that I'm good enough as I am, business has been successful. Chambering has been successful. Once I stopped trying to fit in, fit into this box or whatever they're trying to put it. I mean, it was the same way when I first ran for office. I went in trying to do it the way everybody else was telling me to do it, how to do it just like them. And once I realized that, one, I'm not your typical candidate. I can't, I didn't do business like that. And I realized that running a campaign is similar to running a business. I ran my campaign like I ran my business. And you can look at the numbers. I won. No, this ain't no Donald Trump situation. I actually won. I won.
But see, look, as you say, look, you got a positive rating of 90 to 10.
Yeah.
It's the other way with him. He has a negative rating of 85 to 15.
Yeah. So I was the number one vote getter going into my runoff. And that's the thing about, Georgia, you got to have 50% plus one in order to not have a runoff. And so I had 11,000 vote. I mean, I'm sorry. I had total 11,000. I had a 5,000 vote count lead over the next person that ultimately ended up winning in the runoff. And then I lost by 500 votes. So, it happens. But I tell people, like, that's a fact. You can go research that. Derrick J. Wilson was the most vote getter in my election. So, it is what it is. But I got that as I had no name recognition. I was basically running against the party establishment. And I ran against, it was 5 of us in the race, and I ran against 2 of them that had name recognition. And I still ended up number 1. And the 2 with name recognition was fighting for second place. And so you don't do that without strategy.
So let's move over to your work in community engagement and your legacy work.
Yeah.
You're deeply rooted in community. What drives that commitment?
It goes back to my grandma, man. My grandma kept us in church. Church is ultimately the community. That was my community, my church. And growing up in church, shout out to Bethel Baptist Church in Houston, Texas, Selinsky Road. Current pastor is Pastor Dwayne Turner. I grew up under Pastor Nemo, and Pastor Gifford. But my church was my community. They, basketball games, camps, I think I went to my first professional baseball game due to church. I went, and so by being actively involved in my church, it taught me that community is everything. You know, we did back to school drives, we did car washes, vacation Bible school. So as I got older, I continued to engage in those things. And so then political science. I've always had a passion for government and politics. I was that kid in elementary watching Bill Clinton State of the Union, while everybody else was like, "What is that?" So I was the one laughing at Bush during those years, So I mean, well, I'm from Texas, so I've been laughing at Bush for a while, but and so I just was fascinated in that. So as I got here in Georgia, and doing everything but what I went to school for, politics and involvement, it took me to get sick. I was laid up on my back in 2018, according to my wife, on the verge of death. That's a joke in itself. I was like, I didn't feel like I was dying. They're like, yeah, most people don't. And so almost passing away. You land there, you had those shoulda, coulda, woulda moments. And I was like, man, I need to get more involved in my community. I just moved to Georgia. We moved to Georgia in 16. And I got sick in the first quarter of 18. And I was like, look, I need to get more involved in the community, and find us a church home. We need to do all that. And that's what ultimately led to me getting into politics, running. And then while I was doing that, I said the things that I do while I'm running, win or lose, I'm going to continue to do going forward, which is the back to school block party. I started doing a back to school block party as a campaign event, and I continue to do it. And now the chamber, when I became president of the chamber, it became a chamber back to school block party. And then I partnered with one of our members, and now they done took over it as it's their block party. But I'm proud to know that I was part of that legacy that created this block party, back to school block party that happens every year in South Gwinnett. I dressed up as Santa Claus, did Christmas in the park. I gave gifts out to low income families. We gave out coats, and so and ultimately that's why I became an insurance adjuster. Well, I mean, if we're being honest, I like the money that it made, but I also like the fact that you're making money helping people. Unfortunately, you're helping. You're showing up at the worst time, but at least I'm able to guide them and assist them during their worst times of life. So that's what drove me into becoming an adjuster. I could have been an agent. I've been approached to be an agent to sell insurance all the time, but an insurance agent, in my opinion, is not as helpful as an insurance adjuster during your time of need.
I got some chats, some comments here in the chat. It's quite a few of them, so let me just read these off to you. And the first four are from MJ James. The first is, that's interesting. Absolutely, parents will. What's the nickname? You're walking in purpose. New Era Success says money is a tool.
I like that.
MJ James again goes with quite a few quotes here. Make an appearance is extremely hard. Relationships are so important.
Yeah.
Great love, you guys. Have a good night. Great live. You all have a good night. Then there's New Era Success again. They don't need to be at your table to eat. Share the meal. And the last one from New Era Success is 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen, comprehend, and solve.
I love that. Well, look, I didn't know we had people come in, so I thank you. The nickname will not be provided, so so y'all can give that up. And now, if any of my family is watching this and you put that out there, just know
you gonna know who did it, because their names are gonna pop up.
Yeah, but yeah, Yeah, just community has always been a driving force. My backbone growing up, and so that's just me at nature. You know, my mom moved here before she even found a church home. She found a food bank to volunteer at. So so that's just deeply rooted in my DNA.
So, how do you design business models that uplift local communities?
Well, yeah, if it's not doing that, if it's not uplifting communities, then it's not a business that I'm engaging in. I mean, every business that I had has done that. It's been a business of service. Uh, a janitorial company. I'm servicing. I'm cleaning your facilities to get your facilities back ready for the next morning. The tax businesses. I'm serving you by providing you tax advice and providing your taxes of that nature. When I own a U-Haul, again, providing services. I'm providing you a service to help you move. And then as an adjuster and currently in my roles as president and as business development manager at True North, again, these roles are about servicing others. So I can't participate in a business or a business model if it's not uplifting people.
Mm.
And so yeah, that is one of my checkpoints. Are we servicing people? Are we uplifting? Are we able to provide hope, emotionally, physically, financially as an insurance adjuster, and spiritually? I'm not out here preaching to people, but when you have a fire and you lost everything, and including your pet, you know and you need a shoulder to lean on, I can be that guy. I can be that person. We have several clients where man and woman, done shared some tears, and I was right there.
Mhm.
I've gone to the store at 10 o'clock at night to get some water, some food, provide some blankets. you know I've been there. And so but that's just me at heart. That's just my service. Service at heart.
What's one community initiative you're most proud of?
It has to be the back to school block party. That that's, like I said, it's still going on to this day. um it's growing, it's getting bigger, larger every year. We partner with some great Divine Nine organizations that has been outstanding in South Gwinnett. We have it at South Gwinnett High School. The and Now is being ran by Genesis Outreach, ran by Dr. Shante House, who is an outstanding member of our chamber and is an outstanding member of the community. And it's continued to grow. It gets, like I say, it gets better and better every year. And that's one of my, I love sitting back watching that, and how it continues to grow. You know, I do want to do some more. I'm thinking about bringing back Holiday in the Park. I don't know if I'm going to dress up as Santa Claus again, but I do like that event that we had, Holiday in the Park. And so, but yeah, the back to school block party, B2B, that back to school block party. That's definitely my pride and joy.
So, when I reached out to you, I mentioned to you that we do Black History 365, and I asked you who in Black history was the most influential person in your life and your career. You told me that person was Malcolm X. Let's talk legacy. Why is Malcolm X the most influential figure in your life and career?
I chose Malcolm X as the most influential figure at this time in my life because his journey speaks directly to where I am right now. Balancing growth, discipline, and the courage to stand firm in your values. Like I said earlier, I mean, my values are where I'm at. Malcolm X represents transformation. I mean, he started from humble and difficult beginnings. If you follow my campaign, been there, done that. Uh, Faced mistakes, but turned them into lessons that fueled his leadership and impact. At this stage in my life, I connect with his ability to reinvent himself, to speak truth with boldness, and to lead with integrity, even when it's unpopular. Um, his example challenges me to keep learning, to stay unapologetic about who I am, and to make sure that my work, my words, and my actions uplift others. Uh, so choosing Malcolm X was not just about admiring his legacy, it's about applying his resilience, his vision, and his discipline to my own journey.
So that goes to this question, which transitions into that, is what aspects of Malcolm's philosophy resonate most with your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, man, I feel like I got to repeat what I just said. Um, Again, how he, I mean, his grit, his dedication. I mean, his courage, his discipline. Um, I try to reflect that. I tell people, uh, the popular answer is always, Dr. King. But if now that we're here looking back, both of them were needed in doing the struggle. Um, Doc, Dr. King and Malcolm X was like yin and yang, but they both accomplish the goal. Dr. King gets a lot of the credit, but historically speaking, if you look at the data, a lot of that had a lot to do with each other pushing the envelope the way that they were. And I say that to say I do not and did not, well, I wasn't around that time, but I do not agree with everything I've read and heard about neither one of those guys, if we're being honest. But I do admire Malcolm X willingness to be boldly speak the truth. You know, a lot of people don't know, but when Dr. King was in jail in Selma or Montgomery, one of them, uh, Malcolm X came and went to Selma and spoke to them and pretty much told the crowd and made it loud and clear. Y'all might want to give Dr. King what he's asking for.
Yep.
because if I have to come down here, and so I love that, and now in business, I used to say, which I don't say anymore. I used to say, I'm a, I can be Donald Trump in the boardroom, but I don't say that anymore. I love the lean on me. I love the lean on me scene between Morgan Freeman and the guy that's the superintendent.
Right.
They in the courtroom they had their disagreement. I like how he slammed his suitcase and say, contrary to popular opinion, I'm the HNIC.
Mm-hmm.
Either get in line or ship out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he walked off and say, come on, let's go get something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, like, look, when we in the middle of war, when we in a battle, when we up here trying to accomplish a goal, that's not the time to be in your feelings. So I may come in as Malcolm X in that boardroom, and I do apologize. I may have cut you, but now let's go out to eat, or let's go sit down, and then now I can be like, look, I apologize. Look, we trying to get to a goal, and that Lean on Me movie is a perfect example of how yin and yang. Because contrary to popular opinion, Joe Clark did not do it by himself. If it wasn't for that superintendent that was behind him, mm-hmm. and that supported him, he would not have been successful as he were. So, and I feel that way where I'm at. If it was not for the great board that I have that's standing behind me, I would not be as successful as I am at the chamber. If it's not for the great team that we have at True North, the ownership and the team that we have, I would not be able to be as successful as I am at True North, because they definitely we balance each other out, because sometimes I can't be a Joe Clark, and I can't think of the superintendent name, but we definitely need him in our corners to help reel us back at times where Varnell, there we go. Yeah, we definitely need a Varnell in our corner when we become Batman.
How do you apply his teachings, that is Malcolm X, to your modern business strategy?
Well, once he came back from Mecca, he taught unity to a certain extent, and so I use, I work with anyone. I try to work with anyone, but I also don't, you have one time to cross me, really. But I'm getting better with that. But Malcolm was like that. Malcolm would work after he came back. This is post Mecca Malcolm. After he came back, he was willing to work with anyone and everyone. You can be part of the movement, but you couldn't be part of the club. And so I carry that philosophy. I will work with anyone and everyone until it you cross me. I can't deal with integrity. I'm not going to be looking over my back and question. It's like, no, if we're going to work together, we're going to do business together, then we need to have a level of integrity and trust. And Malcolm had that, and which ultimately led to his death. He had no problem calling out those amongst him that were wrong. If you did, holding them accountable, contrary to popular opinion. I guess now it is a popular opinion, but he was definitely murdered for him calling out the Elijah Muhammad. So, I mean, let's just be honest.
So today, what does by any means necessary mean to you in today's context?
So that means to me, going back to what I said earlier, failure is not an option. Mm-hmm. And so I believe by any means necessary, but I'm going to add a little tweak: any legal means necessary. Like I say, I'm a hustler. I have no problem saying that, but I'm a legal hustler, as in I'm going to go out there and do whatever it takes to make sure that my family is successful, to make sure that my business is successful, to make sure that the organization that I've been entrusted to run, the chamber, is successful, to make sure that the organization that I've been entrusted to develop business for is successful. I'm going to go out there and do anything by any means necessary legally to be successful. And I feel like you have to have that mindset if you want to be successful in business. You can't be, well, that goes back to your risk level. For me, if it comes down to washing a car or getting put out of my house, Derrick J. Wilson go out there washing the car. Matter of fact, instead of you looking, bring your car over here and let me wash it. Give me some money. I joke with people. I say, if you see me on the corner selling some water or whatever I'm doing, you got two options. You can mind your business and move on, or you can pull over and support. That's it. But by any means necessary, we're gonna make sure that we're taken care of. We're gonna make sure that this chamber is running smoothly and doing well and is growing and is taking care of its membership. We're gonna make sure that True North is growing and taking care of its clients. And I'm gonna make sure that Derrick J. Wilson and my family is doing well and is thriving and is having a peaceful life.
So how do you honor Malcolm's legacy in your work with youth and community?
So again, my involvement now in Georgia with youth is now more geared to the back to school event, and I need to do better. I will say that, but I honor him by making sure that the least of us are able to enjoy the some of the finer things when it come down to back to school. I remember growing up, I stood in line for the government cheese and the peanut. Well, people are not remembering the peanut butter. Like, we had government peanut butter. So, like, I've said that before. They were like, I don't remember that. I remember the cheese. No, it was a white bucket with a top on there, and it was peanut butter. So, but anyway, I remember that. And back to school was almost as exciting as Christmas growing up, because those was almost like the 1 or 2 times a year where, you know, my grandma and my parents were able to afford to spend a little much, spend a little more. And so that's my way of honoring his legacy by putting on that back to school block party and providing services. And it's not just school supplies. I mean, we have vendors that are doing health screenings. We have Colgate that come out. You know, we have other small businesses that be out there. We have elected officials. The district attorney has been out there several times. Police, the sheriff. So, I mean, it's a community event. That's why we call it a block party. And so that's how I honor his event by doing what he was trying to accomplish in his later days of his life, was to be more focused on unity. You know.
Last question. What's one quote from Malcolm X that guides your leadership?
Oh man, you stole my quote. You know, it's definitely the by any means necessary. I mean, you know, I have some that, well, you say that guides me. I have some that I laugh about. I love when the chicken have come home to roost. I love that in the context that he said it in. But it's definitely that, because I do believe that in order to be successful in life, you have to have that mentality. Now, I will add that legal, by any legal means necessary, because there's too many options legally that we have out here. Even now, even in this day and age, where it seems like that the government is continue, or societies continue to pull back more and more things for us, there's still a lot more opportunities. I feel like even with all that's going on, the cancellation of this and that, and the termination of DEI and all these initiatives and affirmative action, I still feel like my kids still have a better opportunity than what my parents had, or even what I had. And so, with that being said, I still believe that by any means necessary, legally, in the context of doing what it takes to be successful in life, is definitely relevant, and is how I navigate my business, my life, running the chamber, and building the business development and making relationships on the behalf of True North. I got that color on today.
So, in closing, what are some words of wisdom and encouragement that you like to leave for our audience, as well as how to connect with you via social media, your website, things of that nature, how to get your book, all of those good things?
All right. Whoa, I ain't thinking about the book. So, well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity to be on your platform, America in Black and White. I was pleasantly surprised when you invited me. So on the show that I used to host, I co-host with my good friend RG Bell Carney, we used to always end with some positive notes. And one thing I used to say is keep pushing forward. I always said that. Keep pushing forward no matter how heavy the obstacles may feel. Remember, growth comes from the challenges that tests you the most. Think of a diamond. A diamond is created in pressure. And so stay rooted in your values, because they will guide you in the path that isn't clear. The best way to reach me, I'm on several platforms. I'm LinkedIn, Derrick J. Wilson, Derrick J. Wilson on Facebook. I have a public page. You can find me there. Also, if you Google Derrick J. Wilson, Georgia, you can find all my contacts there. My Power Core page, my LinkedIn page, my chamber page, and if you type in Derrick J. Wilson author on Amazon, you can find my book, which is about marketing. It's called Digital Marketing in a Human. I mean, marketing in a digital world with a human touch. And so, basically, saying what the whole thing I said in this entire interview is being able to have that personal touch when you're marketing. Don't let anyone else's perception define your reality. I posted that earlier today. Like the notion is perception is reality is in my opinion is false. Your perception may not be the reality. So don't let anyone else's perception define your reality. Your journey is your own, and every step, even the hard ones, is preparing you for great impact. Um, and so stay prayed up. And even in challenging times, pray harder. When things going well, you need to be praying. And I do want to give, can I give some shout outs while so I have a great friend of mine that is running for City of Houston City Council position 4. Her name is Chris Wright. If you are in the Houston area, please check her out. Her name is Chris, Cris, Wright, Wright. She's a great candidate for this position, and would love to give her a shout out. Also, let me shout out to my mom and my kids and my wife. Love y'all. They probably somewhere around that house watching. So thank y'all. Thank y'all and love y'all. And anyone else that's out there watching. Let me give a shout out to Dorian Crawford at True North Restoration, Ashley Fitzer, True North Restoration, Crystal Gordon. I will not call your company name out. But what's up, Crystal? And and just everyone else, thank you. Our board members at the chamber, Karen Watkins, Denise Lawrence, Kat Hardrick. She's running for city council in Snellville. Check her out. So I'm going to back away from that one a little bit because that's in our backyard and we're nonpartisan. So I can talk about Texas. But also, we got some events coming up. Like I said, we have State Representative Deshaun Kendrick that's coming out to do a business update with the legislative update September 19th. We have former Rockdale CEO Oz Nesbitt that's coming out October 4th for a speaker clinic. So both of those are amazing events that are coming up. Visit our website at mygecc.org. That's mygecc.org. Click on the events tab and you can see all our events that are coming up. And so that's it. That's all the shameless plugs.
Well, I want to thank you for spending time with us and, this wonderful, wonderful conversation, that adds so much value. And, I hope that this won't be the only time that we can get you on the platform because we definitely love to have you back.
Oh, thank you. I'll be back.
And, I just want to say that, when you spend the time to work in community and you're about community and you're building community, that's the commonality and that is the purpose. And the reason why we ask you to be on this platform is because we're about building those communities, that is, of the underserved and marginalized. Because being underrepresented is the worst thing in the world. But once they learn the resources that are being put in place and the resources that do become readily available for them, that's what we want them to have access to.
Yes, sir.
So I want to thank you and everyone that was out there watching. For those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel, what you should have gotten from the message that Derrick just put out is one thing, is when you're working in your community, and if you are serious about your community And if your community is lacking several resources and things to make it better, you've got to do what's necessary in order to make it work.
Absolutely.
If you're serious about it, then you need to learn that one thing he mentioned, networking. Connect with those that can help you to build your community. Community means more than you can ever imagine because, of course, I'm older than Derrick, but I will tell you this. The one thing that I know that our communities stand for, and that is you will do one thing when you're growing up. You will most definitely go to church.
Yes.
And when you go to church, and he mentioned your church being your community, that is a fact. I know this for a fact is because having to go to church 7 days a week as a young boy coming up, yeah, that gets to be some overkill, but it also gets to be that one thing that you learn if you're thinking, and that is, how do you make this work for you? Because there's a reason why your mother, grandmother, your father, grandfather say, hey, go to church. You're going to church. You're going to church. You're going to church. There's a reason for that. It's because you establish those actual connections that help connect you to move up higher and to expand and to grow your life. So with this show being about legacy, we're about the legacy of our communities, but also we're about legacy when it comes to establishing who and what we stand for. So what we stand for, according to what we just learned tonight, is we stand for our community and we grow together. It's the unification of having more than one to expand out.
Yeah.
For those of you that have not subscribed to our YouTube channel and have gotten all the notifications, I ask if you would please go to our YouTube channels and please subscribe and get all of the notifications, because what you will get is the opportunity to, one, get to watch all of our shows live when they take place, and you'll also have the opportunity to go back and you can watch all of the previous recorded shows with all the lessons and resources to help you to move forward in either your personal life or your business life, your networking life, or anything that's going to help you to become that much better. We also have our community links that are out there. One is to join our magazine subscriptions list, and the other is to join our community to where you are able to go to the community to watch the show live, or you can also have gone to the other side where you will not only get the chance to see the magazine, but you'll also have the opportunity to network. You'll also have the opportunity to read the post there. You'll also have the opportunity to post there. For those that are members and they are looking to hire within the community and to expand the community, they're able to post in the post section there within the community. So there's lots and lots of things there that are coming, but there are also things that are there now. So I ask, please go and join the community, because there's definitely lots and lots to go as we grow in that area. So again, I want to thank you all for watching us tonight on America in Black and White, where we color conversations on America's canvas. Join us again tomorrow night as we have another show that once again is more than just educational, but it's also about building, where you too can learn what it is, what your health practices should be, because it's about health and wellness. And believe me, it's some things that are focused on our communities that people definitely need to listen to. So you all have a great night, and please come back and see us tomorrow, where we will continue to color conversations on America's canvas. I'm your host, Charles King, and we're signing out on America in Black and White. You all have a great evening.